Hey, for this video, I am going to talk about something that has been bugging me since I first heard about it. When the election occurred on November 8th, as all elections have throughout our history in the United States, I've been hearing about this so-called second election. And I am not going to state politically who I support or don't support in this video. That's not what this video is about. The video is just about the fact that I've never heard of the issue of a second election coming up ever in my life. It was always they had people go to vote on November 8th, and then whoever got the most electoral votes, and that's always what seemed to matter, was the Electoral College votes, and that's what showed up on the screen. You would always see so-and-so gets a certain amount of electoral votes, they've won. Last time when Obama won the election, they said, well, that's it, Obama is the next president of the United States, and you never heard any fuss about it. That was just, they just announced after some sort of issue was going on where someone posted a video online. I can't find that video now, where the election was messing up. It was voting for the opposite person they were touching, and the machine was messing up. You didn't hear anything else about that during that election, during the last election we had. Nor did you hear about, after they stated who was going to be in office by January, you never heard anything else about, during that quote-unquote rigging issue, you never heard anything else about who was going to be, when there was going to be a next election, a second election. Never heard anything about it when it's who they wanted in office. It seems to be when someone they want is in office, it's not an issue. I've never heard about this. But, I mean, I'm not stating any particular view or opinion for this video. I'm just stating that it seems kind of corrupt, and that this issue has never arose until this election. And I just want to ask, I wanted to ask if anyone's ever heard of a second election. And you can check this out. I'll post a link in the description below for archives.gov. I don't want to carry this video out too long, but November 8th was election day. That's shown on the archives. It's the day voters in each state choose electors. I've never seen this before, this entire article. All I've ever seen was November 8th being election day. That was final. But it shows that when the election results are final, that's what it says there. Certificates of excuse me, ascertainment of the electors chosen, and they send that out at the office of the Federal Register. And then that's when the December 19th meeting of the electors comes into play, which is just a few days away. And it says that the electors in each state meet to select a president and vice president for the United States. The electors record their votes on 6 certificates of votes, certificates of ascertainment. The electors sign, seal, and certify the packages of the electoral votes and immediately send them to the federal and state officials listed in these instructions. And then you've got December 28th is the deadline for the receipt of the electoral votes. And then you have the fact that they're supposed to have them in hand by the December 28th date. Then, January 6, 2017, you have the counting of the electoral votes in Congress. And this is a key thing here. It says, the Congress meets in joint session to count the electoral votes. unless Congress passes a law to change the date. I mean, think about that one. Unless Congress passes a law to change the date. It's almost like they can decide to keep putting it off, putting it off, and putting it off, and putting it off until who they want is in power, if necessary. The administration they choose. Anyway, as I stated, not going to give that many views in this video. I'm just stating the fact that I've never heard of this, and I'm going to title it under what I normally title my videos as, and in order to hopefully reach more audience and more people so they can become aware of this I'm going to call it a quote-unquote second election. And I don't know where this is coming from, but if you ask me in the past, you've never heard, in the past, we never had a statement. If you didn't care for the particular previous administrations that were in office, and there's been many of them, and if you didn't care for them, it didn't seem to matter. There was nothing we could do about it. It just was. They're in office. That's that. But this particular administration, they are doing all they can to thwart the presidency. And it does seem that way. I've never seen such obvious, just plain obvious, I don't know. I'm not getting into it here, but I just wanted to say I've never seen such an obvious way to somehow change an election around, and it just seems very, very unusual that I would have never heard of this until now, until this particular election, when an election goes in a direction they particularly do not like. And I've never heard of a second election on December 19th. Maybe you have, but let me know if you have, but I haven't. And the fact January 6th of next year, they get to, if they want to, Congress can pass a law to change the date. I mean, sounds kind of, just kind of put in place, really, if you ask me. But I'll put a link in the description below for this particular website, archives.gov, for the Electoral College information. And I've just never heard of this myself, and have never heard of a second election. I don't know what you think about it, but let me know, because it sounds like a bunch of craziness, and we probably wouldn't even be hearing about this had it been someone they preferred in office. But, I mean, again, who knows? I don't know. But I have never heard of this. You never heard a big deal made out of this. Nor have I ever heard of a second election. Sorry about dragging this video out so long. Just wanted to ask you your opinion, your memory, and what you have to say about this. Anyway, much love on this crazy journey and ride we're on. Peace. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you have not. And if you have, thank you greatly for the support. Bye.